Welcome back, beautiful princesses, queens, and goddesses. This is part 3 of our Up Your Seduction Game Masterclass, and I hope you're enjoying it so far and gaining a lot of knowledge. Okay, so as promised, part 3 is the soul of seduction, and this is basically what I describe as the weapons of seduction. So, of course, your looks. Are going to pull your target in, but your soul or your weapons are what's going to keep your target intrigued and coming back for more. So in seduction, we don't just want somebody to look at us and like us and approach us. We want them to be in the game for the long run. So whether it's somebody that's treating you better, whether it's someone that you're in a relationship with potentially or actually, or if it's somebody that is going to help you raise the value of your whole demeanor or your whole lifestyle, you need a long-term game plan as to how you're going to keep them intrigued, okay? Because we all know from a distance and from up close, things can change very drastically. So you don't want to master being able to get their attention and pull them in. And once they're in your space, you don't want the game to end there. It goes on and on. Okay, I got you. Okay, so when approaching this part of your seductive character, you really need to look at it as almost a business. So in a business, when you're marketing your business, one of the main things that you'll have to establish is a unique selling point. What sets you apart from everybody else? So there's a lot of beautiful women out there. There's a lot of women who have their makeup on point. There's a lot of women who have their hair, accessories, etc. on point, who look really good, that dress for their body type, everything that we've discussed in the physicality aspect of seduction. But what about you sets you apart from the next woman? So that's what you really need to kind of focus on. And all of these things do require effort. They require effort in the sense that you have to dig deep. You have to create this if you don't already have it. You have to polish it, master it, and set yourself apart using these different points. So what sets you apart? So I'm going to break it down into 5 different points, okay? The first point is the most obvious, and that's probably going to require most of your energy, simply because there's a lot of things that you're going to have to rearrange, okay? So the first point is your personality, or what you can call your character. So no two women are alike. Some women are very playful and flirty. Some are very sultry and seductive. Some women are very witty. So you basically have to dig into yourself and see what you already have to work with and enhance that, add to that, evolve that. So, for example, if you are very clever, very smart, then you're probably going to be very witty as well. You may be a little bit shy. Some women are very clever and shy when it comes to a social setting. So you can be very witty and maybe very mysterious. Okay, so you kind of have to use your shyness to your advantage and don't let it trip you up. Be more mysterious. So that requires you to speak less about yourself, speak less maybe in general, but if you can pull out the mysterious side of it and not just the shy side of it, that can be very seductive. Or if you're somebody that is very social, you're very out there, you're very talkative, you could come across as very bubbly, but you want to push that energy more into being bubbly and being flirtatious. Okay, so you don't really want to be the type of woman that just talks and talks and talks and talks and talks, because that is not seductive at all. But if you're flirtatious, so if you're not shy, basically, you're able to say something, you know, flirt with your potential target, or say something, you know, funny, not really funny, but playful. You don't want to be a joker, because we don't do that around here. As women, we don't use that to seduce. That is a very quick way to get yourself friend zoned, and we don't want that. But if you're playful and flirtatious, that is very seductive, because that makes a man feel like she's into me, and she's very bubbly. So that's the impression that you want to give. So look into your personality, look into your character, write down what your strong points are, and find the feminine, seductive aspect of your strengths. And that can be a little bit challenging, because a lot of the times the characteristics and the personalities that we have are developed in maybe a work setup, or, you know, if you are an independent woman, you know, most of these characters are evolved to that extent, which can be quite masculine. So the challenge here would be to find the feminine equivalent of what you already have, if you don't already have that. So always have your femininity as your dominant side, basically. That's the takeaway from this point. So whatever your character already is, just lead with the feminine side of it. Okay, I would incorporate mystery into most of it, especially if you're starting out, simply because being mysterious, is very feminine, and it's one of the most challenging parts of it. But when you master being mysterious, everything else is kind of easier, if you understand what I'm trying to say. So, for example, I can be very bubbly and very out there. So, but it takes me a while to get into that. So I lead with my mystery. When people ask me different questions, for example, if someone's trying to get to know me, so where are you from? What do you do? What do you like? You know, all of these random questions. I will never answer directly, and that is one of the ways that I keep myself very mysterious. So if someone asks where you're from, I would say, well, that depends. You know, depends on what. Then I just laugh it off and ask them where they're from. And 90% of the time, they'll forget that they asked me, and they'll answer, and now the conversation is on them. And I will use my bubbly, talkative aspect to dig up more information about the person than to volunteer information about myself. And at the end of the day, the person has 0 or 1% intel on you, and you have so much information on them. And if you've read books like How to Make Friends and Influence People, you'll know that people really enjoy your company when you make it mostly about them. And they don't even know that's why they enjoy it, because people enjoy talking about themselves. So if you make people talk, or if you make your target specifically, or just people in general, talk more about themselves than you talk about yourself, they'll see you as a good conversationalist. But when they come to think of it, you're also very mysterious, because they really know nothing about you. So that's how you can make mystery work for you while being bubbly, while being a good conversationalist, while being in a social setting. Okay, say as little about yourself as possible, and be more interested in the other person. That is very seductive. Okay, so work on your personality, work on your character. And then number 2 is practice. So I would say use this use every opportunity that you can to develop your character, your new personality. So don't just limit it to your potential victims or your potential targets. Use it on everyone. Use it on your friends. Use it on family. Use it on strangers. Use it on the woman that's helping you ring up your items at the grocery store. Use it on the petrol attendant. Use it on everyone, your colleagues, everyone, okay? Because the more you practice a skill, the better you become at it, and the more it becomes a part of who you are. So if you're only saving these nuggets for your target, then you're basically doing yourself a disservice, because you could be using these and polishing these skills every time you interact with somebody. But if you're only saving it for that once in a while when you go out on a date, then you're not going to be as good as somebody who uses these everywhere. And you'd be surprised how much further you actually get when you use them on different people. So this is especially true if you're looking to get better treatment. This is especially true if you're looking to just level up your whole lifestyle. Use your new personality and your new character everywhere. And even if you're trying to get into a relationship, or you're trying to improve the relationship that you're already in, use these tips everywhere as well. When you're trying to attract a new relationship, you just don't know who around you is paying attention. And that is very important. Sometimes the people that we end up in relationships with are people that we just did not expect. Somebody that was already in your social circle, or not even in your social circle, but was already in, the periphery of your circle somewhere, at work, in a social setting, in the family, not in the family, but you just don't know where the next person is going to come from. So you want to have your game on all the time, or as much as possible, because somebody is always watching. You know how they say Big Brother's always watching? Somebody is always watching. So you want this to come across as a part of who you are, and not something that you just put on just because you're going on a date. So practice on everyone, okay? Then, with your personality, with your character, point number 3 comes your body language. Now, this does go into the physicality of seduction, but it definitely belongs in the soul side of seduction, simply because this is something that you don't put on. It's not lipstick, it's not a pair of shoes. It's something that comes from the inside, or so people think, okay? So the more aware you are of your body language, the more aware you are of your gestures, the more aware you are of your eye contact, the way that you talk, the pace that you speak at, all of these things, the more aware you are of them, the more control you have over them, and the more you can incorporate them into your character. So for example, if you're working on being more mysterious, there's no point having your eyes like this. That is not mysterious at all. Okay. You probably want to keep your eyes slightly slanted like this most of the time, because that makes a person feel like you're either thinking really deeply, or you're thinking really bad, naughty thoughts. Or something along those lines. And it's another way of pulling people in, because now people are thinking about, what are you thinking? What's going on in your mind? They are now pulled into your story instead of you being pulled into theirs. So your eyes, your hands, your whole body needs to say the same thing that your character and personality are saying. So that is a very important point that you need to be aware of. Practice, once again, I always say, practice in front of the mirror your different looks. So if you want to be more seductive and sultry, that's probably the look that you want. If you want to be more playful, probably add a little smile to it. if you're, trying to make eye contact with someone, you're probably going to gaze at them and then look away with a little smile just to let them know that you're interested. If you're not interested, you want to be able to. Okay, so you have to practice these looks. Video, record yourself, see what you look like, see if it does put the message across or not. Use your eyes, use your lips. Sometimes if you're just sitting, your lips slightly apart and your tongue just kind of almost coming out, but not really, that is very seductive and sultry. So you can use that when you know someone that interests you is looking at you. You do something like that. It's very subtle, so no one will really say you're trying to do something. They'll just be asking themselves, like, did I see that correctly? Was I just imagining things? And that once again pulls a person in because now they're trying to figure out your story instead of trying to put their story on you. So your gestures also, when you're speaking to somebody that you're pulling in, use your hands, use your face, use your whole body language, point your whole body language towards them. If you're trying to show them interest, sit like a lady, sit slightly, to the side, have your legs crossed at the ankles, and, pull yourself in, or cross your legs at the knees, that whole super seductive leg cross. You can do that as well. Just study different feminine characters in movies, on music videos, in magazines, see what they're doing, but always keep it subtle because that makes it classy. If you overdo it, it just looks a little bit desperate, a little bit trashy, and you definitely don't want that look. You want to come across as very classy, sophisticated, because that earns you the respect that you need. Okay, so practice your body language, your eye contact, your hand gestures, all of those kinds of things, and then your voice as well. Very important. Don't speak too loud. Okay, don't speak too loud. Don't speak too softly either. I struggle with that a little bit, but rather err on the side of being soft spoken than being too loud. Being too loud is just very masculine. Men speak loud to assert their domination. Domination, yeah. To kind of establish their place in the hierarchy, So when you're speaking to people, you can speak in a friendly tone. If you're obviously in the office, you have to use a very business kind of tone. But in a social setting or just, a grocery store or whatever, you don't want to be the loudest person there. You don't want everybody to hear every single word that you utter. Be friendly, have a friendly tone, not too loud, not too soft kind of tone that shows that you're confident, but at the same time, you're still feminine. Smile, have a smiling voice. Practice speaking with a smile on your face because that is very seductive. But when you're speaking to a potential, speak slower, speak a little bit softer or a little bit deeper. I can't do deeper. Or a little bit lighter. If your voice is already deep, if your voice is super light, turn it down a little bit. Once again, you want to watch movie stars, how they do it, because they practice their voice and tone and all of that good stuff. So you want to make sure that you also put in the time and the energy and the effort and practice. If you want to be friendly and bubbly, you're going to have a little bit of an up swing in your voice and your tone and your words. But if you want to be more seductive, you're going to speak slower and deeper and softer. Or maybe you're going to speak a little bit lighter but still softer and slower. Because if you think about it, it's like hypnotists, they speak slow and they're trying to get you in a trance. That's how you get people pulled in. If you're speaking really fast and you're speaking like this, you're just getting the message across, but you're not triggering anything in the other person. Okay, so play with your voice, play with, the different ways that you can say the same thing and how different it really, really sounds. You may feel a bit silly, but don't worry about it. As long as it works on the other person, it's all good. Okay. All right. So next, you've got your voice, you've got your gestures, you've got your body language. Now you need to have the confidence to have a conversation. So conversations with people who are your target are going to be very different from conversations with your friends, conversations with colleagues, and stuff like that. Okay, so first you want to have your goal. Okay, remember the very beginning of this masterclass, we had our end game. Okay, what is your end game? So if your end game is a relationship, you're going to have a very different conversation to somebody whose end game is just being treated better, or somebody whose end game is leveling up their whole lifestyle, or somebody whose end game is to spark up the relationship that they already have. Okay. So, so always have your end game in mind when you're having a conversation with somebody. Now, you don't do this to only speak about it, but you do it because, like I say, the way that you're speaking is going to be very different. So, for example, if you're leveling up your whole seduction game just to be treated better, then you're going to have a conversation that is very general. That's not going in any specific direction. So you could talk about anything and everything, but you won't have a specific direction that you're trying to take the conversation into. Just bear with me. So you just want to get better treatment. You're basically going to speak as somebody who is getting treated the way that you want to be treated. So, for example, somebody, sees you somewhere, hey, how are you? Da, 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 da. So, what are you into? What do you like? Okay. So, you're going to basically, I just like having fun. I like trying new things. I just like being around people that. Sorry, guys. I just like hanging out with people that are of a certain, standing, that just understand and appreciate the same kind of things that I do. Now, you're not saying, oh, I want a better life. You're pretending or speaking as somebody who already has the kind of life that you want. This serves the purpose of letting this person know that this is what you expect, and they will already be ready to give it to you, or if they feel like you're out of their league, they're getting ready to move on. Versus somebody who wants the whole 9 yards of leveling the whole thing up. What are you into? Then you list and in a feminine way. What are you into? Oh, I like going to new places. I really like the theater. I have so much fun every time I go there. Maybe you've never been there. Nobody knows. Nobody cares. Or, I love watching concerts. That's like my favorite thing to do. You see, so you're more specific there because you know precisely what the experiences that you want are, and you're putting it out there. Versus somebody who just wants to be treated better, they're saying you could take me to a nice place and treat me well. These can be interchangeable, but I'm just setting an example just to show you that, when you have your end goal in mind, your answers can differ from somebody who doesn't. Okay. If you want a relationship, what are you into? Oh, I love going out to fine dine in, 5-star restaurants. I really like weekends away. Getaways are like my favorite thing. Then you will count things that require two people. You see where I'm going with this? So this also requires you to kind of sit and introspect and come up with, what does this end game mean to you? So if you say you want better treatment, define it. What does it mean? Does that mean people take you to nicer places? Does that mean people give you gifts? When you say you want a new level of lifestyle, what does that mean? Do you want to take yourself out of a work environment and into a business environment, for example? Some people want to level up to the point where they have their own businesses. So if someone asks you, what are you into? Oh, I really just am so passionate about jewelry, and I really dream of having my own jewelry boutique one day. That is very different from, oh, I like going to 5-star restaurants. Okay, so sometimes you have to be more specific within yourself so that conversation flows easier. You don't want to be thinking about these things when you get asked, because then that just comes across as, what is going on? Okay, you want it to come through in your answers, you want it to come through in the ideas that you have, you want it to come through just randomly, just like how, naturally, basically. So when you making your end game, when you're, working on what your end game is, be specific about it. Be specific about it. What does it look like, so that the people that you meet along the way can have an idea and they'll know whether they're able to take you there or not. Okay. Somebody who wants to be in a relationship, what kind of relationship do you want to be in? Do you want to be in a relationship where, you travel together? Do you want to be in a relationship where you live together? In which case you'll probably be like, oh, I love redecorating my house, and little DIY things. Sometimes it's hard to do them on my own, but I really love DIY. I love doing, this, putting up new that, da 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 da. That lets a person know that you like doing things to improve the home together. So your end game is probably to live with someone. And you can put these points across very clearly without having to say, I want to move in with someone, which just sounds like, okay, thanks, time to go. But if you say, I love redecorating, I love, DIYing, and doing it with someone is always so much more fun because it's easier. You can have a bottle of wine together, laugh, listen to music, da da da. That creates a whole picture for somebody to say, I like that too, and proceed. Or, I'm not really into that, so this is probably not the person for me. And it's very important to be clear enough for people to know whether they're the one for you or not, because you don't want to waste your time, ladies, with someone who is not fit for what you want. Okay, gone are the days when we would settle and take whatever we could get. Now we set the bar, and whoever can reach them, great, and those who cannot reach them, thanks for playing. Try the next one. Okay, so don't be shy to put it out there. And a lot of men do want the same things that you want. It's just a matter of you meeting them and not wasting your time on the ones that want the opposite of what you want. Okay. Then another conversational piece, learn to ask questions. This is probably the most feminine thing you can do. learn to ask questions. I would say only answer questions that are in line with your end goal, that kind of give the person a hint of what you want in a story kind of way. Put that as, okay, I'll answer that, but make most of the conversation about them, because you also need to vet people. Okay. Now, vetting is something that is not really spoken about that much, but vet people, vet men. Okay. Learn to ask questions. So what are you into? So what do you do? What are you passionate about? So where did you grow up? How did you grow up? Oh, learn to ask questions, and ask more and more questions. Have a follow-up question. As soon as he's answered this, whatever his answer is, have a follow-up question to what he's answered. This shows someone that you're listening. It shows someone that you're interested, and it keeps people speaking. And if you're shy, this is great, because then you're not talking about yourself at all, and the person is doing all the talking. But it also helps you to get information, and you need information. If you're going to spend time with somebody, you need information about them. You need to know their background. You need to know what they're into. You need to know things about them that you're going to use later down the line to your advantage. Get as much information as possible. I cannot stress this enough. Okay, so for example, somebody is, approaching you, or, whatever the case might be, and they're, oh, I'm so interested in you. I think you're so pretty. Da da da. Oh, thank you. That's so kind of you to say. Da da da. Oh, so where are you from? What are you into? Oh, nothing exciting. Tell me about yourself. What are you into? Oh, what do you mean nothing exciting? Oh, I just do general stuff. I will even just add stuff that's really not in. Oh, I'm just a part-time administrator. What do you do? Okay, now you've deflected. There's not going to be much investigation into what that means, and whether it's true or not doesn't matter at this stage. Get as much information about that person as possible. This has been in the rules a little bit, because I know a lot of us grow up with be honest, say everything, give them as much information as possible. But as a feminine woman, especially in seduction, you want to have the upper hand, okay? And that basically means that they need to know less about you than you know about them. They need to earn the truth, okay? Bear in mind, there's a lot of men out here that are not even honest, that will spend years and years being dishonest. So don't feel like you owe anybody the truth, okay? People have to work to earn certain truths. So if he sticks around in your life long enough, he will learn the truth about who you really are. And by the time he does, it won't matter. But if you volunteer this stuff up front, you take away the mystery. And when you take away the mystery, you become the target, because now you're, at their mercy, and it needs to be the other way around. So if you need to, add a little detail that may not necessarily be true, do that. That protects your identity, and that also keeps you at an advantage as much as possible. And ask questions. Ask questions about where they work, what do they do, where are they from, what are their aspirations. You don't necessarily ask in a very straightforward way, not every single one of the questions, but ask in a way that, oh, you're interested. Oh, you look like such a great guy. Oh my goodness. What do you do? Okay. Instead of, what's your job? Where do you work? That's very invasive. But if you're like, oh, you're so funny. Are you a lawyer? What do you do? No, I'm actually da da da. Oh, what does that mean? Then they'll tell you everything that you need to know. And, oh, okay, so where are you from? Where did you grow up? and so on and so forth. You're getting all this information by acting interested, and people will volunteer, men will volunteer information so quickly, and you can decide if this is the type of person that you really want to be spending time on. Okay. Then, point number 5, which is also important, is study your type. Study the people that are automatically, unashamedly, unabashedly drawn to you. Unabashedly. People that are drawn to you without any reservation. Study them. What kind of people are they? Are they older? Are they nerds? Are they unfit? Are they of a different ethnic background from you? Study people who are willing to do anything and everything for you. What do they have in common with each other? Okay. Even look back to relationships or people that have tried to get into relationships with you. What is it about them, that they have in common? What type are they? Okay, study them, because these are the people that you want to focus your energy on. So, for example, I know the people that are most drawn to me without me having to do a thing are usually older. They usually are the nerds. Yay, we love nerds. Okay. Sometimes they'll have their own businesses, so they'll be very busy people. There'll be people who are always in alpha mode or, that type. Very rarely would it be people who are very social. They can have a lot of friends, but they probably don't hang out at the club. You see what I'm saying? They may, be well paid, but they're probably not wearing designer head to toe. Okay. So that is my type. If I see somebody trying to approach me and they've got designer from head to toe, I already know this is not going to work. This is not the same, they don't want the same thing that I want. I already know. And they're not going to bend over backwards for me. I already know. Okay. But if somebody approaches me and, they're a little bit socially awkward, they're a little bit older than me, then I already know, okay, this is my type. This is the one that I'll just say, oh, tonight I just feel like going to this restaurant, or I really want to go and do 1, 2, and 3, and I already know it's done. Okay, so study your type. What do they do? Where do they work? Do they work for themselves? Are they employed? What do they wear? Are they flashy? Or are they probably wearing something, of good quality, and it probably costs a little bit, but it's not flashy, okay? Study them. Where do they go to hang out? Are they going to the club to hang out? Or, are they stopping at a restaurant after work for a drink? Or would they rather have a braai at their friend's place if they need to relax? Where do they go? Where are you likely to meet them? You need to study your targets. How do they move? What do they like to talk about? Because guess what? That's going to be your new favorite topic. You need to study them. These are the people that are going to be seduced by you. And so you need to be able to pull them in and make them feel like they have something in common with you, or they want to be around you because you understand them. Stuff like that. And as soon as they have the slightest feeling of, oh, she understands me, or we're on the same page, then girl, you're basically D for done. Okay, you're in. Okay, you're in. You don't want to be with somebody that sees you as just another option. You want to be with somebody that feels like, oh wow, I never thought I'd be able to be with a girl like this. When you speak to them, so, what high school did you go to? Oh, did you play sports? Like my type are not the sporty type. They didn't play sports in school. They are very smart. They have very high paying jobs, or they have their own businesses, but they were not the sporty type. They were probably the nerds at school. Okay. So, oh, what was your favorite activity growing up? Oh, where did you go to school after, where did you go to university? That is a good question to ask, because they probably, like my targets, definitely went to university, very well educated, and they love talking about, that time of their life, because they were first independent there, and they probably first discovered themselves in university and all of that kind of stuff. They probably don't want to talk about high school that much, but definitely university. And oh, so where was your first job? Oh wow, you're so smart, you're so interesting, and what do you like to do for fun? These are the kind of, and you see how my voice changes. These are the type of conversations, because you helping them relive a part of their life where they felt most alive, and in turn they will feel most alive around you. So these are the conversations that you want to have. You don't want to talk about the latest album of such and such artist. Nobody cares. You don't want to talk about, oh, did you hear this club opened up? Da, da, da. Because if you are with the right target, they probably don't care about the club. Okay. These are conversations that you're going to have with your friends. These are conversations that you're going to have with, your peers, your colleagues, something like that. But somebody who you're trying to get into some sort of committed relationship, somebody that you're trying to get better treatment from, somebody that's going to help you level up your whole lifestyle, probably doesn't know the latest club that just opened up, because their focus is on something totally different. Okay. And that basically summarizes the soul of seduction. So develop your personality, develop your character, find out your strong points in that area and play them up in the feminine arena. Play up the feminine aspect of your personality, and then practice it on everybody. On everybody. Okay, people might be like, what's this? You're different. That's good feedback. Keep going. Practice, practice, practice. Then incorporate your body language, incorporate your eyes, incorporate gestures, incorporate your voice into this new personality, into this new character, so that you come across as more well-rounded, and it comes from a deeper place than just the surface. And learn how to make conversation, learn how to come across as more confident by being mysterious, by saying less about yourself and being more interested in the other person, by collecting information and remembering the information so that they feel like, oh, she really was paying attention, she's really interested. And then study your type. Know what makes them tick, know what excites them, what do they have in common, know who is likely to give you the lifestyle or the treatment or the relationship that you want, and focus more of your attention on them and less attention on people who are not in that category, because now you know that your target is A, B, and C, and they're going to give you X, Y, and Z. So I hope you found that helpful, and stay tuned, because we're going to go into the anti-seduction, what not to do in seduction. So I'll see you in that one.